of you out there right now are looking at the laundry pile that you have in the corner of the room, wherever, or you're really looking at it and saying, "This is a laundry mountain. Like that pile is so high, it's kind of overwhelming, right?" To try to get it done. Well, I'm going to go over ways to get the laundry pile done. Really, more about preventing the laundry pile in the first place. I have a method of things, of different steps I'm going to tell you, and hopefully these will help you to prevent that laundry pile from ever forming. The first step to all this is going to be decide where you're going to put the clothes, whether it's in a closet, a drawer, wherever. Decide where that place is going to be. And then once you decide where that place is going to be, make a space for the clothes. Whatever you're putting up, make a space for it. Because what happens is you decide to put it in the closet and that closet is full. And you look at that closet and say, okay, the closet's full. I have the clothes, they're dry, the hangers are on them, but then you just leave the clothes on the bed wherever you have put the hangers on because you realize there's too many clothes in that closet. You just don't have space in your closet because there's so many clothes hung up in there. And the only space is where you have to pull back so many clothes to get all the way at the end to put those clothes there. You need to do something to organize it so that when you take the clothes in there, I'm not saying organize your whole closet, but when you take the clothes from the dryer in there, you need to have a little bit of space to put the new dry clothes. Key to this is deciding where you are going to put these clothes, where you are going to have a place for the clothes. So what you need to do is wherever, if it's in a closet or drawer, whatever, you need to move clothes out of the way, move clothes over so you have a space. So when your clothes get out of the laundry or you finish drying them or whatever, right? When you are done and want to put those clothes away, you already have a space there. And that's why you decide beforehand. Because once you have decided beforehand that is the place that you're going to put the clothes, then when you get finished with this whole process, it's going to be easy. You're going to be able to hang them up or fold them or whatever, and then just put them away without having to try to figure out, okay, where am I going to put them? Okay, I have to move this over to get them there, move this over to get them here, or, I just don't know where I'm going to put them in this drawer. So then you have to find another drawer to put them in. And so they stay on the chair, the bed, wherever until you decide to get back to them. And then it creates a pile. You'll see a pile of clean clothes or clothes you folded or clothes you decided that you were going to fold but haven't folded. And just because you didn't have a place to put them, you decided, hey, I'm not going to do that right now, because I have to move clothes over this way, move clothes over that way. The next thing you need to do is going to be separate the clothes into different piles. And I know a lot of people are like, I separate some, or maybe some people are just like, I don't separate them at all. I just, get them, I put them on the washing machine all together. It's a big load. I put in the drying machine all together and then I'm done. The reason you separate them is this, because would you rather have a big, huge pile of clothes in the washing machine or a big, huge pile of clothes in the dryer and have to fold a big, huge pile of clothes or put away a big, huge pile of clothes? Or if you separate them right, then you have smaller piles. And that means, hey, you're going to put a smaller load into the washing machine and you're going to put a smaller load in the dryer, and you have a smaller load to fold or put away. And so the cool thing about this is once these clothes are in the dryer, the small load, right, then you can go ahead and put the next load into the dryer. And that load is going to be a small load too. And so now you have the thing of, okay, I got a small load, you put it in the dryer. It's going to take less time to dry because it's a smaller load. Get the clothes out of the dryer for that small load. You can already be ready to put the next load into the dryer. And it's just going to break down that task. And with ADHD, a lot of times you have to break things down because a lot of times you look at a task, if it's big, you might get overwhelmed. You might say, that's a lot of clothes to fold right now. If I had, a couple of hours, 30, 40 minutes to do this, I could fold that and put it away, but I'm just going to leave that right there. I'll just leave. I'll come back and do it later because it is a lot of clothes to fold. Or you might just get tired of waiting for those clothes to dry because you put a big load into the dryer, it's going to take longer to dry. You might be like, man, I ain't waiting for that. I'll go do this. I'll go do that. Go do that. And then you'll forget they're in the dryer. And you come back a couple of days later, 3 or 4 hours later, and be like, oh, my clothes are in the dryer. But if you're doing small loads, you've broken it down. So that way, when you put the clothes and they come out of the dryer, it's a very small task. It might be 5, 10 minutes or maybe not even that long to fold a very small load of clothes. You just break it down and keep getting these little small loads of clothes. And as you do them, then you realize, hey, I'm getting this done. Every load I get, I'm getting it done. And then you are surprised you don't have this big mountain of clothes that you have left. You've actually done all the clothes, and you put them away in that designated place that you decided that you were going to use for this. Make sure that they are in categories that you are going to understand and like, and say, hey, I just put them lights, darks, whatever. However you want to separate them, that is up to you. But definitely just separate them because it's going to make the task easier overall. So you probably think, after all that, I'm done. That's it. That is the whole process. No, there's something else you need to use. There is a timer that you need to use because you need to have some way to know when your clothes are done. You have something to remind you, hey, go check the clothes, go check them in the washer, go check them in the dryer, some type of indicator to let you know it is time to go check those clothes. It's time to go check if they're in the dryer or the washer, they're done. If you have one of the newer washers and dryers, mine does not have this feature because it's really old. But if you have one of the newer ones, they have a beep that goes off when the laundry is done. When the washer's done washing the clothes, the beep goes off. When the dryer is done drying the clothes, the beep goes off. And it keeps going off until you go check the clothes. And so that's great because now you don't have to set a timer. You're just like in the room and all of a sudden the beep goes off. You're like, oh, I need to go get the laundry, right? I need to go get it out of the dryer or the washer, whatever, right? Or you just get annoyed by the beep because it does keep beeping until you go check it. So you might hear the beep and be like, what is that? And then you hear the beep again, you're like, what is that? And you go towards the beep, you're like, oh, my clothes are done. Don't even have to set a timer then. You might want to at least have the timer as a backup. But really you don't, because that washing machine or dryer is going to tell you when those clothes are done. If you have a friend coming over, generally, if you have a good friend, they will help you fold the clothes. So you wouldn't have to fold all the clothes. You'd be like, hey, friend, come on over. I think, come over and hang out. And then get there, you'd be like, while we're hanging out, I'm going to do some laundry. And your friend be like, sure, do some laundry, because you don't have to sit like over the washing machine, looking at the washing machine, right? Seeing when your clothes, you can go put the clothes in there, put everything in there, and just let the washing machine or dryer do its thing. The cool thing is they will generally remind you. They'll say, hey, watch, didn't you put clothes into the laundry? Did you put clothes into the dryer? You'd be like, oh yeah, I did. I need to go check those. Look, yeah, why don't you go check them? They might be done. You're a really good friend. Like I said, a really good friend will help you fold the clothes. Now, another thing you need to do is once the clothes are done, the dryer goes off and you hear the dryer go off, you need to fold the clothes as soon as possible. Don't take the clothes out of the dryer and just leave them on your bed or your chair or your couch. You get them out and you put them down. You're just like, I'll do it later. And then you just leave them there and you don't fold them. One, your clothes may be wrinkled if you don't fold them right then and there. Two, that's the beginning of a laundry pile, a laundry mountain. So as soon as the clothes are done, and they're dry, take them out and start folding them and putting them away. And there is that place that you have already designated for this. Put them away because you already know where you're going to put them. You've already designated that place. You already made a place for it. So all you have to do is fold the clothes. If you get distracted, it's okay because you've already folded your clothes, right? If you have to do something else, you're like, hey, I need to go do this other thing. At least your clothes are folded and hung up. When you start washing clothes, you're going to have to separate them. And the first three categories are going to be white clothes, dark clothes, and light clothes. Now, you don't want to wash them together, even though some people would just be like, hey, I don't care. I'm going to wash them together. I don't have time. I just want to get my clothes done. But there are reasons why you don't want to wash them together. One, if you're going to wash your white clothes, you're generally going to use bleach so it stays that bright white. So if you want that bright white color, bleach is probably going to be the thing that you're going to use. If you put clothes in with the white clothes and you've used bleach, you're probably going to have discolored clothes. On the flip side, if you don't have bleach on your white shirt and you end up accidentally putting it in with a different color, then what may happen is you might experience color bleed onto your white shirt. And what that means is that you're going to take the color from that shirt and it's going to kind of discolor
the white shirt that you have. Now moving on, say you have a shirt or outfit or whatever that you just bought and you're like, this is an amazing outfit, I want to go ahead and wash it. And you decide you're going to throw it in with all your other clothes. Don't do that. And the reason you don't do that is because when you have a new outfit, a new shirt or whatever, sometimes it will do the whole color bleed thing again. Or if it's like a fuzzy thing, you'll just get fuzz all over whatever you're washing it with. And remember this also, sometimes it's perfectly fine to wash your dark clothes with your light clothes. Now besides the clothes, you want to separate your laundry by the different types of things that you have. So washcloths, towels, gym clothes, clothes you wear outside to work in the garden or whatever. Nice clothes that you go to an event and you have to have a nice set of clothes for that. Work clothes, they're all different kinds of clothes and you need to wash them separately. And there are going to be other different things about clothes where you have to wash them in different styles, different temperature, different types. If you have towels and washcloths, you want to wash them by themselves because of the fact when you wash up, clean up, take a shower, whatever, you're going to wash places that are more private. You don't want to put towels and washcloths in with your other clothes because they do have a tendency to shed sometimes, where you'll get these little like fuzzball towel things on your other clothes, or you'll just get the lint from the towel on your other clothes. And sometimes if they're newer towels, they do have a tendency to do the whole color bleed thing again, depending on what kind of towels you have and what you put them in the wash with. Now for the bed and sheets, comforters, whatever you use on your bed to sleep on, I'd wash those separate as well, just for the same reason as for the towels and washcloths, just for a hygiene kind of thing. And also that bedding may have specific instructions on how you need to wash them, and it may be different than your towels anyway. And speaking of special instructions, there are things that only have a certain way that they can be washed. Some can only be washed on the delicate cycle. Some are only dry clean. You can only wash them by taking them to the dry cleaners. Some can only be washed in cold water. Some can only be washed in hot water. Some will give you another instruction of saying, okay, once you get this out of the wash, put this on it. So you need to look at all of that. You just look at the whatever it is that you're trying to wash and look at the label on it somewhere, and it's going to tell you the specific way for you to wash it. It'll also say the specific thing that you should not do with it. So if you have something that says, don't dry this in the dryer, air dry only, I do have things that have that instruction on it. Then if you put it in the dryer and it comes out that it's like torn all up because you put it in the dryer and didn't air dry it, somewhere on it that will tell you, don't do this, but do that. And as long as you follow those instructions, you should be pretty good. So why am I talking about washing instructions? Because you definitely need to separate those things out too, because there might be things that you can wash together. Now also check the material, because sometimes the material will tell you or give you clues to how you're going to take care of a certain thing. And so you can separate that out too, because you have something that may be silk or whatever. You do that a different way than you wash or take care of something that's made of cotton. Now, if you have a family or you live with someone, you do need to know which clothes go to which person. So you want to have some system to separate out the clothes or the things for the different people in your house. One of the easy ways to do this is to have different laundry baskets for each person, right? And when you have their clothes or when they get their clothes, all they do is they come and they put their clothes or whatever items that need to be washed in their laundry basket. Put a label on it so they automatically know, hey, this is my laundry basket. Get different colors if you want to, so they know, hey, my laundry basket is the blue one. Whatever you have to do, you just want to have some way to separate out those clothes so you know which clothes belong to who, which washcloths belong to who, which items belong to which person. You can also just have those different baskets for different things that you want to wash. And then all you have to do is when you get those clothes, just come in and throw them in the basket that is the appropriate basket. Here are 15 mind-blowing ADHD laundry tips that will change your life, and you can start using them right now. The first mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is to make sure you have everything you need to wash when you do go to the laundry machine. Because sometimes with ADHD, what happens is that you think you have everything. You put everything in there, you wash your clothes, then you look after you have washed them and realize you forgot something that you really want to wash. Say you're like, hey, I want to wash these socks. I have this pair of socks that I really want to wash. And you realize you've thrown everything in there and you come out with one sock and you lost a sock that you may not ever see again. I'm just joking about that. But the fact is that you don't have the other sock that you need for the pair. So what you want to do is you want to take everything you have out and just lay it out. Hey, these are my jeans I'm going to wear. These are my shirts or whatever you need to wash. You just lay it out and make sure you have everything and that you're not missing something. It can be really bad if you need to wash a uniform for work
and you think you have everything in there, and then you look after you wash it and realize it's not all there. Or if you see, it's even worse if you go through and you just throw it in the dryer and then dry everything, and now you're looking at all the clothes as you go to fold them, and that thing you need is not in there. So make sure however you want to do it, but I say the best way is to make sure that you just put everything out, make sure you count everything, make sure you go over everything, and make sure you're not missing anything that you actually need. Next mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is to use a dry erase marker on your laundry machine to remind you of different things you need to know about the clothes you are about to wash. It's really important to know, hey, I only need to wash this certain piece of clothing on the delicate cycle. And the reason this is going to be great because a lot of times when you have ADHD, you might forget that this certain piece of clothing doesn't need to be washed with this clothes. So you have a red piece of clothing and then you have some white shirts or whatever, and you're like, oh, it'll be okay. But then you end up with pink shirts after you have washed your clothes and realize, hey, there's this piece of clothing in there and it made it the same color or a variation of the color that I didn't want it. Or you don't want to just wash something that can't be washed on a certain cycle and then it shrinks, and now you're trying to figure out what you're going to do because it doesn't fit the way it needs to fit anymore. So you want to make sure that you take that dry erase marker, as long as you can write it on your washing machine. Usually this on white washing machines because that is just the easiest for you to write on and then be able to read what you're writing on. And that way you can write all these specific things you need to know and remind yourself, hey, I don't need to wash this with this. This has to be washed a certain way. I can only use this kind of detergent on this. Whatever is something you need to make sure that you remember. So that way, when you go into the laundry room to actually wash those clothes, you can just look down and automatically know, okay, this is what I need to do for this certain piece of type or clothing. Or this is, maybe you even want to just remember, hey, I need to go get some laundry detergent or whatever. You can write that down on there. So when you go to look and go into your laundry room and decide to wash clothes and you look on there and you realize, oh yeah, I need to go to the store and get laundry detergent before I even do this. And that can be a very helpful thing. Probably thinking, won't this stain my washing machine? I would check a little bit, just do a little mark on there and make sure it's okay. Do not use permanent marker on your washing machine. That can be a really bad thing to do, but generally it's pretty safe. And all you want to do is, when you have written everything on there and say you don't want to have anything, say you don't need that thing anymore, you can take a cloth and then just wipe off whatever you don't need. That is why this is good, because it doesn't have to be something that's permanent on your washing machine. If you think, hey, I need to put something else on there or take something off, then it can just be erased really quickly and easily. And another mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is all about rewashing, because sometimes with ADHD, you will forget that pen in your pocket and your clothes will come out with ink on them. Or maybe you spilled something on your clothes, you have a big stain in your clothes, or you just have clothes that you don't want anymore, and when you put them in the wash, you realize you don't really need this anymore. And so you want to take all those things and decide if you really want to rewash them. My advice is to go ahead and put those things to the side, because of the fact that you may have other clothes that you just want to wash that don't have any of these issues. If you put all those things to the side, then you can go through and decide what you want to do with those things. You may want to throw some things away. You may realize that, hey, this is ruined, I can't do anything with it. You may want to try to use stain remover to get things out of the clothes and see how that does. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to put those clothes in your dryer and start drying those clothes with other clothes that don't have those issues, because then it might mess up some other clothes as well. So when you have ADHD, you need to know what to do with all those things. And you need to know what happens when you have a mishap in the laundry. And the reason why I put these clothes to the side is because it may be only one or two pieces of clothing that have this issue. And you might have another big load that you need to do with all your laundry and everything. And so you don't want to stop and do those just two pieces of clothing when you know that you have more laundry to do. You can always go back and do those after. Keep them in a place where you can see them, so that you'll be reminded when you look over there and say, oh yeah, I've got these clothes over there that have these issues that I need to rewash. I'll do those afterwards.
And then every time you look over there, if you haven't done them, you will keep reminding yourself, hey, I need to go ahead and decide what I'm going to do with these clothes. And another mind blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life: use a container, have it somewhere in your laundry room for all the random stuff you might find in your laundry. This happens when you have ADHD. You just forget things that are there, and you end up with pens and maybe buttons that come off your clothes, or just your wallet or whatever. You have all those things that you've forgotten that end up in your laundry machine that you find, and that you may not know what they go to even, or you may not know which person they belong to. But you've got someone in your family like, they left this pen in their pocket, or money or change or whatever in their pocket, and you're not sure who it goes to. And so what you do is you have this little container there, and you put that stuff in there, because that way you at least have one place where all this random stuff is located. So if you need to find it later, you can always go to that little container or whatever, and then you can see, okay, this is where all that random stuff is. It has to be in here somewhere. Now, you do have to occasionally go through and clean that thing out. Now, the other thing about this is that they do have these different little containers that you can put magnetically on your dryer, to where you can put these things. And so that makes it really convenient. So if you don't have a basket or some type of container, you can buy one of those things. I'll put a link to one in the description so you can go see what it looks like and everything. And if you need that one, then go ahead, and that will be a way that you can get one and see how all that works. And another mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is clean out your lint catcher. Because if you forget to clean it out and it gets too full, and because a dryer uses a lot of heat, what happens is you may end up having a fire on your dryer. And that all rhymed, but that's not what I intend to do. Anyway, what I mean is that you need to make sure it's cleaned out. You can get a little container that is magnetically put on your dryer, and you have a convenient place to where you can take all the lint out and put it right in there, or you just have some sort of container on there, or you can have a trash can in your laundry room and then just put it in there. But you need to figure out somewhere that you're going to dispose of the lint. And again, please make sure that you do take a regular time to go ahead and clean it out. And with ADHD, you might forget to do that. And so you want to make sure that you have some sort of reminder, maybe even use a dry erase marker and write it on there and say, hey, I need to make sure I clean out my lint catcher, to check that before I start even drying clothes, because it can be very bad if you do not. Another mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is to make sure, if you're drying clothes, that the clothes are actually in the dryer. Funny story, I was at a friend's house and they said, hey, go ahead, make sure to turn the dryer on before you go to bed. And so I was there, I went in, I turned the dryer on. I thought they had put the clothes in the dryer. I didn't really look and try to see if they were in there. They even have a window that I can see through and see if the clothes are in there. I didn't check. And so what I did, I started the dryer and it ran for a little while. And I said, oh, it's kind of done. I'll just go ahead and do it one more time to make sure the clothes are really dry. Never checked. They got up in the morning, looked in the dryer, and I had dried nothing. There was nothing in the dryer at all. And so I say this from experience, make sure that whatever you're trying to dry is actually in the dryer. And sometimes with ADHD, you just miss things, or you just don't realize, that something is not in where it needs to be in, like in the dryer, the washing machine or whatever. And so just double check, make sure you double check, because I don't want you to go through the same thing that I went through. Another mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is to set aside things you need to re-dry. Now, it could be that you have wrinkled clothes and you're trying to get the wrinkles out, and so you need to re-dry them again to try to get those wrinkles out. Or you just have clothes that didn't dry the first time, like maybe you put towels in that take a little longer, or jeans in, take a little longer to dry. And then you have other clothes in there that are completely dry. So what you do is you take those other clothes out, and then you might want to rerun the dryer on those clothes that aren't completely dry yet. But you want to kind of set them aside, because sometimes, even if you have wrinkles in your clothes and you think, hey, the trick is put the wrinkles wrinkle clothes back in there and the dryer is going to take care of all the wrinkles. The dryer may not take out all of the wrinkles, so you're going to probably have to iron those clothes at some point. But if you want to keep trying and trying and trying, you can. So you want to set those clothes aside because you're just like, these clothes are not becoming wrinkle free. They still have wrinkles in them. I can't get the wrinkles out. And so you set those clothes to the side as you dry your other clothes, which are coming out without the wrinkles. And if you're determined to get all the wrinkles out of your clothes and you have tried drying it, you tried ironing it, then the other thing that you may have to do is take it to the dry cleaners because they will help you get the wrinkles out of your clothes for sure. And another mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is to designate a place for you to fold your clothes, because folding in the laundry room is fine, but the fact is that's generally very boring. Folding clothes already is boring in its own right, so you want to make sure that you can make it a little more fun, a little more enjoyable. So find a place, maybe a place by a big window where some sunshine can come in, or can look out at the night sky or the city or whatever. Or you want to have some music there to where you put on your favorite song, or you may have a diffuser where you put some, essential oils on it to makes it more relaxing for you. Whatever you need to have in that little place, you want to pick a place and then make it more comfortable for you. And another mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is to roll your towels. One, you don't have to be concerned about, does this corner match this corner when you're folding normally a towel or washcloth. You just have to fold it over once and then you just roll it. And it's just so much easier. One, I can do it when I'm just, doing whatever. I don't really have to even look down once I get the initial fold in. And then I just roll it and roll it and roll it. I can watch TV. I can talk to someone while I'm doing it. It's very simple. And a lot of times when you go to hotel rooms, they'll have some towels rolled up. You can use it for washcloths. You can use it for actual towels as well. So it has a lot of versatility to it. But overall, it's just different. And when you're folding clothes, folding towels, you want to sometimes just do something different. And it makes it a little more enjoyable when you have ADHD. And another mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is to use a rolling clothes rack. The reason this is good is because when you're washing clothes, sometimes you need to take those clothes out and hang them up immediately. And so since you have this and it rolls, it can be in the laundry room and you can do that. Because the worst thing is to have those clothes, you take them out of the dryer and you take them to your room, wherever you're going to fold your clothes, and you put them on the floor or put them in a chair, and then you kind of forget about them. And then when you actually need them, you realize they're completely wrinkled, and now you got to throw them back in the dryer to try to get the wrinkles out or iron them. So this just prevents that whole process from going on because of the fact that you have this in the laundry room. Or the other thing is, if you need to take clothes from your closet and bring them into the laundry room, you can roll this into there, take those clothes out of your closet that you need to bring in there. Maybe you want to wash them for a special event or whatever, and then put them on that rolling clothes rack and bring them into the laundry room to wash them. Or you just want to have things that you can access really quickly as well, just things that you know that you need every day that you want to make sure that you have quick access to. A rolling clothes rack will also serve that purpose. So because it's so multifunctional and because it just makes things a lot easier, you should definitely use one if you can find one. Another mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is to fold clothes by categories. And so this is going to be really good because if you put everything into a category, hey, I'm going to put my jeans here, put my shirts here, put my pants here, put, whatever, my work clothes, work uniform, put all those in different categories. And the reason you do this is, one, you want to know if you have everything that you need in that certain category. Do I have all my stuff that I need in my jeans or my shirts or whatever? And so you know automatically if you have forgotten something that's not hiding in with all the other clothes. And two, it just makes it a lot easier because now you go through, hey, I'm going to fold all my jeans. Boom, you fold them all and you've got your jeans completed. Now, every time that you complete a task, when you have ADHD, you're going to get a little bit more of the dopamine that's produced, and that gives you a sense of accomplishment. I've got my jeans done. Then you go through, I've got my shirts done. I got my work clothes done. I got my towels and washcloths all done. And another mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is to put clothes away by categories as well. If you fold them by categories, makes it really easy. You go and put them wherever they want to go. But if you haven't, you want to make sure that you do take them and figure out what category they go into, and make sure you take them all at once and put them away. Because what you don't want to do is you want to keep going back and forth, taking a little bit at a time, and they're all in different places, and you have to keep going to this place and that place, and it just makes the process longer. So you want to make the process as quick as possible, and being able to put things away in categories as well is very good, because you might take your washcloths and your towels and whatever else you might have in the bathroom, you take them and put them all away at the same time, knowing that they all go in similar places. And another mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is if you have moved into a new place or recently rearranged your place, to have a place for everything, for your clothes, for your towels, for your washcloths, work clothes, whatever you have that you need to put up that is laundry. Figure out where you want to put all those things before you really start getting into the laundry, because you don't want to get done with the laundry and then figure out, okay, well, where am I going to put this? Where am I going to put that? And then you have to go through and figure out where that place is. Another mind-blowing ADHD laundry tip that will change your life is to set aside a time each day to do laundry. Now, you don't have to do it all at once, but you do want to set aside time to just do a little bit if you do have laundry, because laundry really is never ending. Once you have gone through the day and wore the clothes that you have, they're dirty, and then you have to go through and put them in the laundry, and then you have to eventually go through and do laundry, right? So do a little bit each day, because if you don't, you may end up, especially with ADHD, a big pile of laundry in a chair on your bed, dirty laundry that you haven't done. Or even if you have washed clothes, you may have your clothes, that clean clothes, in a chair on your bed in the same aspect, and then it just piles up and keeps piling up. So you want to do a little bit each day. It doesn't have to be all of your laundry at once if you don't want to do that, but at least do a little bit at each day. And what that is going to do for you is going to keep that big laundry pile down to a more manageable laundry pile. And the other thing it's going to do for you is that you'll get into the routine of actually doing laundry, a little bit of laundry each and every day. And so that can be a great help, because with ADHD, laundry is boring, not the most exciting task that you want to do, not something you're excited to do. So this just helps you get into that mode of doing it. And another mind-blowing ADHD tip that will change your life is to invite friends or a friend over. And the reason is because it just makes it more enjoyable and fun when you have a friend there. Even if they're just coming over to hang out and you have to do your laundry, like they say, hey, I'm not going to do any laundry, but I'll come hang out with you. That's going to make it more enjoyable, because at least you have someone there that can make you laugh, you can talk to, that you enjoy their company while you're there doing this task that may not be the most exciting thing in the world to do. And so if they come over and they help you, then that's even better, because you can get things done faster, and again, make it more enjoyable for you, because hey, you're done faster as well. But just because your friend is there, it also leads into body doubling, because you have invited them over and told them you're going to do laundry, and now that they're there, you want to go ahead and get the laundry done. And so you're going to be motivated to start and finish that task as well. Here are 10 things that will help you with laundry room organization on a budget. The first one is this container that's magnetic. You put it on the side of your washing machine. And the reason you have this is because of all the things you forget that are in your pockets that you find. This is the place that you put them. And it's cool because it has no top on it. So it's really easy to take that stuff out, make sure it's in there. And I also think it's neat that it has pocket treasures on the outside. Now, the next thing is this magnetic holder that is great because you're going to hold your dry erase markers in there. Now, why dry erase markers? Because of the fact that you can use dry erase markers to write on your laundry machine anything that you want to remember or have to remember, like about laundry or about detergent or about drying things or about special materials. You can write it on there to remind yourself. And so this is the holder that you can use. And one more thing about using a dry erase marker on your washing machine, make sure it does not stain your washing machine And please do not use a permanent marker on your washing machine. And another thing that will help you is going to be a magnetic lint bin holder. You put it on the side of your dryer so that when you get all the lint out of the little lint trap or whatever, you go and you put that lint in that lint bin, so you don't have to go look around for a trash can or some other place to put the lint. Is really convenient right there. And it has a top on it so that all the lint doesn't come flying out at any time. And another thing that will help you is going to be a laundry sorter. Now, this one I like because of the fact it has 3 different colors, so you can just look at it and know which thing goes in which color. And the other thing is it's labeled already, so you don't have to do any of that, so it makes it really easy. But the convenience of it all too is that it rolls, so you can be in your laundry room, roll it to one side, the other side, or whatever, but it helps to make sure that you are separating your clothes, and that makes it so much easier when you do have to do laundry. And another thing that will help you is a skinny laundry cart. One is very easy to store. You can store it between the wall and the washing machine or the dryer, wherever you want to put it. If you want to put it on the other side of the room, you can also do that. It won't take up that much space as well because it also rolls, so you can roll it to wherever you need it. And the reason you have this is because you want all the things you need to wash your clothes on it, or things you need to dry your clothes on it as well. And so it makes it convenient to always know where that stuff is. And something else that helps with laundry room organization is a clothes rack. And the reason you want one is because when you take clothes out of the dryer, you don't want to have to fold everything. Some things only need to be hung up. And so it's very easy to go ahead and do that if you have a clothes rack inside the laundry room, rather than having to go all the way into your room before you hang stuff up. And the other thing is you want to get one that rolls, so you can just roll into the room, and that way you don't have to grab all the clothes off of it and try to take all those in the room as well. Now make sure you get a heavy duty one, because of the fact that if you want to put anything that weighs a little bit more, then it will hold those different clothes or coats or whatever, or maybe multiple garments. So that is going to be a better choice for you than getting one that's not heavy duty. And if you do want to get the specific items I'm showing in this video, all the links to those items are in the description below. Now, something else that's good for laundry room organization is a drying rack. And the reason you want one is because not everything can be put into the dryer. Some things have to be hung up. Some things have to be just air dried. Some things can be put in the dryer, but they still need to be air dried some as well. So that is what this is for. This one in particular is foldable, so you can kind of move it around to wherever you want to. It's also adjustable, so it gives you a variety of ways that you can dry your clothes. And something that's good for laundry room organization is a mini ironing board. That means you don't need a big, huge ironing board in your laundry room to iron clothes. You have this one, you can put it on a tabletop or wherever and then iron your clothes. This one I like because it has more height under the iron, because of the fact that you're not so close to the tabletop or wherever you're ironing on. The other thing I like about this one is it has a hook and you can put it over the door and store it there. Now, something else that's good for laundry room organization is to have some type of clear container, and these jars are really good for that. Now, the reason you have them, let's say you have clothespins and you want to put them somewhere that you can just easily reach them, you put them in a jar like this. Or you have one of those little pods for laundry detergent you put in your laundry, you put that in there. And so that makes it really easy to know where those things are and how to reach them easily. And the fact that because these are smaller, you can put them in more different places. Now, something that's really good for laundry room organization is going to be different labels, so you can label things. Even if you have clear containers, you still want to put labels on them, because of the fact it just makes it so much easier to identify what it is. And these already have everything for laundry rooms already printed out. Now, something else that's good for laundry room organization is to have different areas designated to different tasks. So for example, you have a folding area, you have a ironing area, you have a place where you get everything ready for you to wash. And so you have the things that you use for those activities in those areas. So when you go to that area, you already know everything's there.
Knowing how to iron is one of those things you need to learn how to do, or you need to know, because there are 2 options other than that. You can take everything to the dry cleaners, or you can throw everything in the dryer and hope that the wrinkles come out. That's an old college trick that I learned. Other than going to the dry cleaner, it's going to require you to learn how to iron. The first thing that you need to do when you try to iron is going to be to find out what material is the piece of clothing that you're going to try to iron. And it's absolutely crucial to know whether something's nylon, cotton, polyester, whatever material that thing is made of, that piece of clothing is made of. You need to know, because you have to put that material or set the iron for that material so you don't mess up your clothes by putting the iron on the wrong type of clothing that you're meant to iron. And also another tip, when you have ADHD, you might forget what material that you're ironing or that you just looked at. So make sure that you have a pen and a pad there or somewhere where you can write things down. So once you look at the material, you can go ahead and say, okay, this is the material, I'm gonna write it down. And then if you forget or need to look back at it, you can, and you don't have to go back and open up the clothing to find the tag again to find out what material the clothing is, especially if you've already started ironing and the clothing is hot. And the next thing that I've already kind of alluded to is make sure your iron is set for the right setting for the right material, because if you don't and you put your iron on the wrong material, it could burn the material, could mess it up. Because what happens is when you set the iron for whatever material that you're going to iron, it's going to heat up to the right temperature for that material. So if you set it for the wrong setting, it's going to heat up too high or too low. Now, if the temperature is too low, then it may not get all the wrinkles out. And if you heat it up too high, it may damage your clothing or burn the material. If you're unsure what setting you have the iron on for the clothing, go ahead and check it again, and then check the clothing material once again to make sure the two match. It's very important they both match. And the next step is going to put water in the iron. Most irons have a place where you can pour water into, and then you'll be able to see it in an iron because they have a clear place where you can look at it and say, okay, my water is in there. Now, if the iron doesn't have a place to put water inside, go ahead and make sure you have a spray bottle available with some water or a bowl with some water in it. This will be important later to make sure you have some way, somehow, to have water when you are ironing. And now that you've done all this, the next step is to turn on the iron. And this was all in preparation to get to the point of turning on the iron. Now, when you turn the iron on, in general, it will have some sort of light to indicate that there's power going through the iron. And sometimes you want to wait until that light goes off because the iron has to heat up. And so once that light goes off, it will indicate that the iron is heated up. But if it doesn't have that light on it, just let it heat for a little while until you feel it get hot. Now, you can test how hot the iron is just by putting your hand kind of close to the iron and seeing if there's some heat there. Don't put your hand onto the iron because you may end up burning your hand, but put it like just a few inches away, and so you can feel that there is heat there and that the iron is actually on. And once you have the iron on, make sure you don't set it close enough to where you can like bump into it or put your hand on it accidentally on the hot side, because it can burn you. And I've done it before, so I'm just letting you know that you want to make sure it's far enough away so that you don't just accidentally rub against it or put your hand on it or touch it. Don't forget that it's there, and don't forget that it's on, because if you get distracted by something, maybe you're checking your phone, watching TV. So once you have the iron all heated up and you're ready to iron, you're finally at that place. Not yet. You want to take the iron and test it on the ironing board first to make sure it's working properly. Because if anything is wrong with the iron, like it's just heating up too much, it's burning the ironing board for whatever reason, then you want to make sure it's not going to be on your clothes. And something else to check for is going to be, look at the iron on the hot side, make sure there's nothing on there, because if you ran over something with the iron accidentally and it melted on the iron side, or you burned something accidentally and it's melted on the hot side, you don't want that stuff to come off and get on your clothes. After all this, you're finally ready to actually start the process of ironing. You're going to take the iron and do a test run over your clothes that you are trying to iron to make sure that the iron does not damage your clothes in any way. This is just kind of a double check to make sure that, hey, I'm putting the iron on my clothes, it's functioning okay, I'm not damaging my clothes, I don't have anything on the wrong setting, I should be good. Run it over there a couple of times just to make sure. So the next step is going to be to hunt for wrinkles, look for wrinkles. You're looking for places that need to be ironed. And so some wrinkles are hard to get out, and some wrinkles are just in difficult places to get to. But you're going to find as many as you can and run the iron over them back and forth until the wrinkles come out. If you can't get the wrinkles out of your clothes just from running the iron back and forth, this is where the water comes in. Now, if you have one of those irons where you can put the water inside, see the water inside, then it's going to have a spray function. What you do is you take the water from there using the spray button and you spray it over the spot that is still wrinkled up. You get it kind of damp, and then you take the iron and run it over back and forth again to see if the wrinkles come out. Now, if your iron does not have a spray function, then this is where the spray bottle comes in and does the same thing. You still spray the spot the wrinkles are and run the iron back and forth again to try to get the wrinkles out. If you don't have that and just have a bowl of water, you're just going to take a little bit of water in your hand, on your fingers, and then sprinkle it on that area that is still wrinkly and then run the iron back and forth over it as well. So 3 different types of ways that you can do that. Now, the another option that you can do still requires that the clothing is wet or damp in the areas that you want to get the wrinkles out of. What you do is you make that area damp, and then you're going to take the iron and just set it on the area that's damp and try to just steam the area so the wrinkles come out. You just set it over there for a few seconds until the area is no longer damp and it's kind of dry, and then you look and see if the wrinkles have come out. Now, some irons have a steam function already on the iron, so you don't even need to use the method I just described. You just use the steam function on the iron. There's generally a button there that you push and it expels steam out of the iron on the hot side of the iron onto the clothes wherever you're trying to get the wrinkles out of. And once you've done all this, you're pretty much through with ironing. The only thing you have to do now is then look at what you've ironed and see if there are other places you still need to iron. Sometimes if you have shirts or suit coats or whatever, you can then just hold it up in the air and just kind of shake it a little bit to see if there are any new spots you need to iron, or places that are just still wrinkly that you're like, man, I really need to iron that spot. The last thing you're going to do is going to take whatever that you've ironed and hang it up so that it doesn't get wrinkled and you have to go through this whole process again.